Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Now I'm going to be just testing some of the streaming technology because I do want to do more live streams. So for those folks that are joining, thank you for joining, and let me know in the chat if you have any problems or anything like that. This is a work in progress, and I'm sure it will get much better. So today, I thought I would get some work done on my British. I've got some British tanks here. Well, I guess this is a armored car, but we're going to go ahead and start painting that. So we will be using Russian uniform as our base color, and that's what we're going to start with. And I can already see this camera is going to be a little laggy, so you might have to put up with that as we go. Okay. So we're going to put some of this Russian uniform in the palette. And we are going to paint. I'm going to use a little bit bigger brush for this base coat, just so that we can kind of slop it on. Oh, hey, Jersey General. Thanks. I'm also testing whether I can see your chat, so thank you. Are you from Jersey? I am using a Citadel paint handle. This is kind of my normal Flames of War painting method. You may have seen my, I had a video on how I painted my Soviets. And I kind of went over a similar process there. Oh, okay. I realize that camera just died. I gotta hit refresh here and make sure it comes back up. I lived in New Jersey for a while, in New Brunswick. I'm waiting for the camera feed to come back up. Let's see here. While we're waiting for the camera, you guys are stuck looking at my big face. There we go. I think we're back in operation. Maybe. Nope. Ah, there we go. We'll want to probably make that a little bit bigger on the next live stream. Oh, sorry, I think we lost the feed again. Camera's being very, very picky tonight. We're going to go ahead and try to swap it. No, I didn't go to Rutgers. We moved when I was about 10. Um, so all I went to was an elementary school in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Okay. I always thought these armored cars look so cool. They're beefy boys. And I have two of them. This one, oh, sorry. I'm gonna grab another paint handle so we can do this one at the same time. Kind of trap those wheels in there. So Jersey General, do you play Flames of War? There we go. I want to say I bought a can of Vallejo spray paint to do the base color for all the British, but I currently live in Arizona, and normally we have great weather, particularly outside for airbrushing and stuff, but we have had a lot of rain like the rest of the country. Not as much as California, but California's been sending some rain our way, which is good. Our state needs rain, but it makes spray painting outside kind of impossible. There we go. We lost it again. I did not have this much trouble last time we did a test here. Okay. Yeah, getting back to the gaming store can be hard, especially after lockdown. It took a little while to get back in the groove. It looks like. Let's see. If you can hear rumbling in the background, that's my 3D printer. Hello, wardrobe. Like the name. Thanks for stopping in. We're currently having a little problem, and this is a test. We're currently having a little problem with one of the cameras, but yeah, we'll make it work. Okay. Sorry if you see me dipping at a frame. Gotta grab my keyboard here. Okay. I gotta call up the task manager and kill this program that the camera is running and then restart it for the desktop camera. So bear with me here, guys. While we're waiting, I'm gonna keep working. All right, let's see if we get back in business here. You know, Jersey General, that was a great starter set with the Italians for mid-war. I really like that one. Ah, I think the camera's back. Boy, that was a pain. All right, well, we're definitely going to address that before the next live stream. So anyone, little trivia, anyone watching, can you identify the type of armored cars we have here on the table? We are going to have some Flames of War, late war battle reports. I think we're going to have one in the next couple of weeks that's going to be on general YouTube, but not on the Patreon. And of course, there's Flames of War battle reports on the Patreon. Seems like at least over 20 of them on the Patreon now, so quite a few of them are late war. Dahmer, sure enough. And I think these armored cars, I was saying it earlier, are just so cool looking. I mean, I love playing my Americans, and I love the Greyhounds, but there's something just chunky about these guys that are so cool. I want to say, let me grab the unit card real quick. Clean my brush first. Aha, I found it. I don't know if you guys can see that. Daimler. You know, if Mark was around, he'd teach me the proper British pronunciation. Ooh, that's kind of reflecting there. But, you know, painting him, so I thought we'd look at the stats real quick. You know, the Dahmer has front armor of 1, so it actually has armor for an armored car. you can have the 2-pounder, which I think is this barrel here. And then you can have the Little John adapter, which is, I believe, this one here. It's got a little extra doodad on the front. Anti-tank 7, 8 for the Little John adapter. They're both overworked though, so you know they're not the best. But you know, you get Scout and Spearhead with these guys. You know, you're not taking these guys to shoot up the Germans as much as you are to you know, get a little extra movement out of your vehicles. Okay, I don't know how long this Daimler, thank you, Michael. Daimler. I thought I was saying it wrong, and I have butchered so many languages since I've started playing Flames of War. All the people that get mad by the way I pronounce the German Stug or Stug or whatever. Well, you know, it happens. Alright, let's focus on this guy. You know, when I do these base coats, it's just quick and dirty because we're going to highlight up, but I'm also going to black line wash. I used to like just cover the whole thing with wash and then repaint the highlights and base colors from scratch, but that takes a lot of work, so I think black lining, and I'm just using Nuln Oil here, is a good compromise. Yeah, I like the desert rats. A couple of the guys collect desert rats. Jake, as you may or may not know, is my son. He started, I think that was his first army, was the desert rats. Sorry guys, if you see me flailing around with this, I have been having some eyesight issues. But the nice thing with this method is you can be kind of sloppy, and then even, you know, in the highlight phase, we can correct a lot of this. And what you don't correct kind of looks like weathering. So, you know, it can be win-win. If it looks like I'm just slapping it on, that's right. And good day to you, sir, from England. What time is it in England? You know, I've tried different ways to highlight these tanks. Trying to find a kind of a happy medium. Nuln Oil seems to be a good standby, reliable. I've tried Gundam markers. I don't know if you guys have tried those or seen those, but just after 2 a.m. Whew. Do you have insomnia, or do you normally stay up this late? Okay, I'm not going to jinx it, but I'm going to say the camera's holding steady now. Whatever problem we were having, I think we might have solved it. Have any of you guys watching, have you played British in late war? Have you used the Daimler? haven't tried Vallejo black ink, but if it's comparable and cheaper than GW, I might give it a shot. Jersey General, I know what you mean. When I lived in New Mexico, I've lived in several places. Game stores were very hard to come by. I'd have to drive to Santa Fe, I think, for the closest one, and even then, that wasn't a very big one. Okay. Next up, I'm going to be using some German Gray from Vallejo. I love this. This is one of my utility colors. I use it for everything. You know, Flames of War, Warhammer. Anytime I'm painting black, Vallejo, this German Gray is an awesome place to start. And I like that for things like the tires. I might have to get a new one because I burned through this so quickly. Currently, we live in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, in the valley, and we have several very good game stores. There we go. Now we're in business. I get what you mean about not being able to find people to play with. I have been, I think, particularly blessed by having several people that kind of shared my passion. And then my son really got into it. I was kind of surprised. When he was little, you know, he always kind of liked looking and playing with what I was doing, but I never really necessarily pushed him into gaming. But when he was little, he saw the movie Bridge Too Far. And he loved that movie. It's still one of his favorite movies. I wish he was on the live stream, but he's busy working. And so his first army, he wanted to play the British. And he's always kind of liked the British ever since. You'll see him on the channel whoop up on me with the Germans because we like playing historical matchups, Axis versus Allies, and not so much blue versus blue. Alright, we're working on the tires. This is also a good base color for machine guns, stuff like that. Normally when I'm, after I decal these, then we worry about slapping a lot of, weathering pigments on it. And boy, that covers up a multitude of sins, really. Can you guys see that? Okay. Let's see if I can. I want to move this light without causing the camera to disconnect. See, that might be better for you, but it might not be better for me. Yeah, I've got a couple of daughters. Now, as far as Flames of War goes, they never really showed much interest in that. And you kind of got to respect that. My older daughter, who's now 14, she did paint up a Panther tank, but she painted it pink. and they liked the anime Girl und Panzer. My children and we like anime. But they never really got into it. But my daughter really likes Age of Sigmar, which is fantasy. And I'm trying to support that with the fun system. My other daughter likes the Blood Angels for some reason and Warhammer 40k. That just spoke to her. And she likes painting and building, but she doesn't like playing. Whereas my other daughter likes both. She likes the social aspect of it. So every kid is different. And, you know, if my kids kind of get bored and turn away, well, you know, that's totally fine. Hey, we've got Alabama in the house. Good evening. Let's see, you're only 19. That's not bad at all. I think Jake started playing when he was 10 or 11. And he didn't go to his first tournament, I think, till he was 12 or 13. Ooh, American War of Independence, Perry Mounted Militia. Is that, and welcome Axis and Aliens, sorry. Is that 28 millimeter American War of Independence? Now we did the tires, so we'd give the base coat a little bit more time to dry. So now I think we're going to start lightening up this base coat a little bit. Again, I'm using Russian uniform as my base. And I like to use Vallejo Buff as the color for lightning instead of using white. I find this gives a nice lightning effect without killing the color too much, which is always a problem for me. Jersey General, where did you own your store? In Jersey or someplace else? World of Tanks. That's a pretty fun game. I think it was a brilliant no-brainer that Battlefront picked up that license, because the first time around, the first version, when it was just called Tanks, everyone's just called it, it's you know, World of Tanks, the miniatures game, and then they got the official license. Ooh, that might be a little bit too dark, I mean too bright. I do like Star Wars Legion, and I have quite a bit of stuff. Excuse me a sec, I got a cough. Excuse me. And I have, of course, the Rebels and Empire from the first starter box, and then the Separatists and the Galactic Republic clone army. Okay. Going to go off screen and cough for another second. Alright, thanks guys. I am getting over a nasty cold, little flu bug that had me down for like a week and a half. And I apologize if you guys have been wondering where our content is, but I've just been out of it and a little bit too much to do while I was sick. And while I feel much better, I still have kind of a lingering cough, which is a pain and makes it hard to do all the painting I want. So what I like to do though is I like to get other things that I've already painted and compare them. So this is like a Stuart that I'm painting in the British colors, just to kind of compare and see where I am, so I don't go crazy with highlighting for one particular thing and then not be consistent across the rest of the army. I do plan on painting my Civil War ships. I need to find someone to play with, because Mike, who created that the Dawn of Iron Civil War naval game, created a really fun little game system, and I had a fun time tracking down the miniatures and printing them, and I want to play. Now I do have some that are already painted. I don't know if they're none of the ones that I 3D printed, but they're some of the ones I purchased, like metal and resin from Thoroughbred Miniatures, and I think I've got some Peter Pig. But I do plan on painting those other American Civil War ships, because I think that period is just so cool. It's just such a transitional time with the ironclads first coming on scene, and there's just all these weird looking ships and paddle wheels and turrets, and it's pretty cool. Thanks for stopping by, Will. Or no, Will GM for food. I don't know if your real name is Will. So, dynamic points. You're talking about dynamic points for Flames of War Mid-War. We played one game with that, and I think it's on the Patreon. If it's not, it will be, but I think it's already there. And normally I play Americans in Mid-War, and I was able to add a few tanks, I want to say. I was going to say it was actually pretty nice. So yeah, I hope they do the dynamic points for late war, um, because I'm sure there's a few areas that can definitely use a little love. Okay. So Warner, your girlfriend painted her Empire. I'm assuming Star Wars Legion. We're still talking about uh, pink. That's pretty cool. I've seen that before. I've actually seen lady cosplayers with pink stormtrooper armor. Um, so that's kind of cool. And to each his own. I've seen a lot of people non-standard, and I've seen a lot of people get angry about it. Like in Team Yankee, I've seen some really cool, creative things like uh, GI Joe type painted tanks and Command and Conquer painted tanks instead of just going with a traditional paint scheme. And personally, I just think that's all awesome. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I know about the HMS Warrior. I don't know if there's. I'm sure there is a miniature for that, and it would be kind of cool. I know the guys who have been working with the um, Dawn of Iron rule set have been doing a Pacific War, like Chile and Paraguay. I can't remember now. I'm not an expert in that area, but um, basically shortly after the Civil War, um, it's a time where the ironclads like that were facing against each other. Go ahead and correct me if you guys know what I'm talking about and can get it right for me. Yeah, there are too many games out there. Not enough time. Sorry, I guess I should hold that under the camera to make it a little bit more interesting for you guys. Well, not looking too bad. My friend Jacob, not Jake my son, but Jacob, he loves making, and actually my son too, loves making cool objectives. Like, he has a cool Indiana Jones objective, a Rocky. I think he made like a Rocky 3 objective for a Team Yankee tournament once. Isn't Rocky 3 where he fights the Russian? Oh no, that's Rocky 4, I think. Yeah. I think my son made a Predator objective once, which was pretty cool. Also for the 80s Team Yankee tournament. There's a lot of fun you can have with the game, with any game. I forget if this little, I guess that's a bridging tool or something there on the side of that Daimler. Daimler. Sorry, Daimler. I know. No, no. Looking for the card. The card sometimes helps me with painting. But it looks like that pieces, they keep it the same color. Okay. Well. Love the 80s. The game I'm really looking forward to trying is the Ancient Galleys. I don't know if you saw my video on that from Wargaming Illustrated. Like Greek and Roman galleys. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. That's another one where I gotta find someone that wants to actually come play with me. Thought I could get my son to do it if I mentioned that he could play the Spartans. That's one of the galleys. It's just primed black right now. But I might do a stream where I paint that bad boy up too. This is something I 3D printed. Turned out pretty nice, actually, if I don't say so myself. Alright, that is looking a little light for me. I might have to darken this up just a little bit. But otherwise... And then the other one, which we haven't done anything, this one's the commander, so the hatch is open. At least I think that's how that platoon works. Ooh, a mouse. That sounds pretty cool. Did any of you guys watch Girl und Panzer, that anime? I don't want to have a spoiler alert, but the mouse shows up at the final school battle, I think it is, which is pretty cool. And again, sorry about the flailing around with the painting. Still trying to figure everything out. Get all the technology working the way I like it. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, my eyesight is not the best. I've got to schedule myself for have a cataract removed. Not looking forward to that. I'm too young to have cataracts, but my eyes disagreed with me. Well, thanks for the invite. If I'm ever in England, I definitely would love to meet some folks and throw some dice. Take off this turret for a sec. I don't know how I missed that part. Whew, that's nasty. Let's fix that right now. I don't know if you guys can hear my 3D printer going. I've got some Team Yankee Soviets. I bought into a Kickstarter for some 3D files for airborne Soviets that you can use like in that Red Dawn supplement, which is cool. So I'm printing some stuff for that. I actually have some of the first prints over here. This is an ASU 85 from Team Yankee. Looks a lot like an SU 85 from World War II. Yeah, I mean, fantastic little model. In Team Yankee, these are cheap as chips because they are very low tech. But yeah. I 3D printed a bunch of these, which is pretty cool. Okay, back to my Daimler. You know, Andrew, I love Black Seas, and I wish more people played that too. I think I mentioned in the video it's like a guilty pleasure game. You know, I can't play it all the time, but when I do, boy, it sure is fun. As far as Team Yankee battle reports, I feel bad. Mark and I filmed an awesome Team Yankee battle report, and the memory card got corrupted. And the first time that that's ever happened, before I could transfer it, normally I film it and then I transfer it almost immediately to my computer where it's backed up in a couple of different places. And the memory card got corrupted, and it was such a good game. And then this month I've been trying to plan with Mark to play some more Team Yankee. He's going to LVO to play Team Yankee, and I was going to give him some practice, but I've been sick, and I felt bad. I've canceled on him twice the last 2 weekends. We were going to get a Team Yankee game in. So I think we're going to wait till after he gets back from LVO and get some more Team Yankee on the channel because I love it. Hopefully by then I'll have the miniatures for the American partisans, the rowdy teenagers, and have those on the channel and get those in a battle report because they look very interesting as far as the what they can do in battle. I'll go back to some Nuln Oil here. If I can nail down the technology for live streams, I'd like to do this, once a week or something. Because I just think it'd be fun. Hello, John McEloy's Ghost. Well, Andrew, good luck on 3D printing. I will say 3D printing is like its own hobby. It's its own skill set, and there is a learning curve. Um, so if I could give you any recommendation, it's watch a lot of videos, YouTube videos about that, because there's a little learning curve to it. So it's not bulletproof yet, but you can definitely make it work, and you can definitely make get some really nice prints, and in the long term save some money. I know you're still spending money, but if you saving money because you're not buying expensive, plastic or metal kits. Michael, I love Team Yankee too. I wasn't sure I was going to like it when it first came out, but it's just it's a lot of fun. It's not historical, so you can you know you don't have to be quite as serious as with um, you know World War II, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I mean, I have so much fun. I customized some of my Team Yankee terrain. I made like the Quickie Mart from The Simpsons is one of my convenience store. I think Mark painted up his office building to make it look like Dunder Mifflin. So, it's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, I love Flames of War and World War II stuff, but it's just so much fun to play with all this kind of weird, wacky 80s tech. Plus, who doesn't love the Abrams? I love the Abrams. Now, what I don't like about Team Yankee is sometimes the meta, where it's just a bazillion things on the table, um, which can encourage playing at lower points levels, but then it's really hard to play with the really awesome, cool, super expensive stuff. So it's kind of a catch-22. We had a Flames of War tournament where it was at the very beginning, so you just had Abrams, you had T-72s, and all kinds of stuff. And it was one of our Shifting Sands tournaments. My first battle was against a BMP horde. So it's like 40 BMPs. And I remember losing because even though I killed so many BMPs, he parked it all over the objective, and I couldn't drive my tank physically to contest the objective. I couldn't get the tank within 4 inches of the objective to contest it because it was just an ocean of destroyed BMPs. That, I was going to admit, wasn't much fun, but like if you watch the games that Mark and I play on the channel and off the channel, we might play with a lot of miniatures sometimes, but it's never crazy. And we pretty much talk to each other when we're designing lists so that we're not catching each other by surprise. That my list, I've built my list to totally destroy you. I try to avoid that because I don't find that to be a lot of fun. Things do blow up a lot more in Team Yankee. I agree, Michael. And that's a lot of fun. I think Team Yankee can be more fluid. Like after I've played Flames of War 3 or 4 times and then I switch over to Team Yankee, it's like, oh yeah, you can move like 14 inches and still fire 2 shots, and you're going to be hitting me on 3s and blowing me up on 2s, and it's just you got to relearn that Team Yankee stuff can be so much more fluid and dynamic. Excuse me, got a cough again. Yeah, Jersey General, that's true. You can pick up Team Yankee or Flames of War, vice versa, if you know the other one. There are some rules and some terminology differences, but in essence, it's the same game. Ooh, the T-72B. Now, see, I like the T-72B. One, it's got some good stats for the points, but I also just love the aesthetic of it with the ERA, the armored blocks on it. Um, Visually, it just makes the tank so much more interesting, and you know, you can paint them and they come out nicer with less work because of those ERA blocks. Um, yeah, same thing with the T80. I love the T80 because it's got a bunch of business on it. It's not a boring slab of a tank. The T64, what is that, BV or something like that? The one that's in the new release. Also looks cool because it's covered in those ERA blocks. Yeah, Michael's right. 15 millimeter, at least Team Yankees 1/100 scale. So things like the helicopters are 1/100 scale. The only thing that's not 1/100 scale in Team Yankee are the airplanes, and those are 1/144 scale, I believe. All right, guys, I want to let you know I'm going to cut the stream off in about 5 minutes here. Um, Really, this one is just kind of a proof of concept to let me work out some kinks with the technology and see how it's going to look. Um, and I appreciate everyone hopping in and chatting, so I'm not here just blabbing to myself like I usually do when I'm painting. Michael, I can't wait to try out the T64 BV as well. I don't have any yet, but I'm sure I will be getting some. That's the problem of trying to be a completist with Team Yankee and the Soviets is so many of those tanks are so close together now. You got the T-72, T-72B, the T-64, the T-64BV, which really aren't that different when it comes to stats. I mean, they do have differences and they do play slightly different, but really they're all that single fire AT. What is it, AT-22 for those guys? I don't have the stat card handy. Now I think I need to go in and do some line highlighting, and then some decals, and then some weathering. A lot of weathering, but I need to do the edge highlighting, and that should be pretty much it. I do like the British vehicles because they do have a lot of markings on them, and I like the markings when you're doing like this monochromatic, just a single color. Adding markings really can help make it pop on the battlefield. The Americans are the same way. They're all olive drab, but you slap a bunch of stars on there, a name written on the side of the tank, the numbers on the side of the hull, and it really comes to life. Yeah, AT-22 for the 125 millimeter gun, and all of those Soviet tanks have that same gun. Really, I mean, there might be some minor variations, but I like the T-64BV and the T-72B. Just add, like, visually, they're just cool looking tanks. Oh yeah, TT Combat. Yeah. I can't remember who has some buildings. Someone collects those. Yeah, I can almost do this with a dry brush, this edge highlighting, depending on how lazy I want it to be. So normally I do the edge highlighting, but then I'll weather it. Like I said, slap decals on it, so a lot of the edge highlighting goes away or gets faded. So one of the last steps is going back in with a little bit more edge highlighting to bring it out. But again, you don't have to be super careful with this. I have great respect for those artists, and they are truly artists who paint these things so gorgeous and beautiful. And I don't have the skill, or I feel like the time to do that. Do it justice, right? I want to get it so that it looks good on the table, and that when I look at it, I'm not like hating it. It's serviceable. And I know everyone's a little bit different, but that's kind of my philosophy. And when friends are looking at it, I want them to go, okay, that doesn't look bad. Alright, well, there you go. There's the Daimler in progress. Michael, I like British Shermans, although outside of running Americans, I did have, and I sold it. I wish I hadn't. I had an Israeli army for the 6-Day War release. That was all of the Super Shermans, which I just think are awesome looking. And then in the past, when I did tournaments that were like on the Eastern Front, and people made me play Soviets, I would build American Lend-Lease, so I would run a lot of Soviet Shermans, which I have a feeling will be coming back pretty soon for 4th edition. Ah, yes, the Firefly. Yeah, that 17-pounder is a great gun, Michael. I agree with you. I wish the Americans had adopted it for their tanks. And in Flames of War, it's an excellent gun with, what is that, AT-15 on that, I think? Which is enough to punch right through a panther or tiger, which is really nice. Alright, guys, well, I am going to wind down this stream. Oh, yeah, the M51I Shermans, that's what they were. Yeah, I might have to rebuild that when it comes out again. Maybe they'll come out with plastic. That would be cool. All right, everyone. I want to say thanks for dropping in the stream. I really appreciate it. Look forward to more. I want to do more. I really like the fact that I can chat with you guys. This has been pretty awesome. So, yeah, I will be making some improvements. They did just announce Soviet Berlin, and I will be doing some pretty extensive coverage with that. Some of that I can't talk about yet, but I will. So you have that to look forward to. All right, guys. Well, thanks, everyone, for logging in. Thanks for the chat. I'm sorry if I missed your chat. If I did, I apologize. Blame it on my old eyes. It's very tiny text I'm trying to read on the screen. But thanks, guys. I will talk to everyone later. Thanks again. And as always, keep on gaming.